What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to Oaxaca City. Today's mission, finding the climbing gym. Yet again, I've got an address. Let's see what we can do with that. Here there are actually bigger streets, although this is a colonial city as well, just like San Cristobal. But as you can see, the streets are big enough to have two rows of cars on one street, and they are also big enough for buses like this. So a little bit different than San Cristobal in this manner. Anyway, I need to find some fruits as a fuel, as a session fuel, and then I'm going on to the search. Maybe I can utilize one of these crazy big buses. Let's see what we can do. ¿7? Gracias. All right, so let's see where we are here. I have to admit there is something interesting about using public transport without having any idea where you will end up, you know. Seems like we landed here in a little bit of a more remote region, remote neighborhood of Oaxaca. I feel we're getting closer. Oh, it's so undercarbed and so dehydrated. Oh, desperately needed something sweet like this, you know, mango juice.
So here we are in the Erikuas Club de Escalada, the Oaxaca Climbing Gym. Amazing gym, not too big, but they've got all you need. Amazing roofs with some awesome boulders, and also a huge big 45-degree overhanging wall for some hard stuff, and also flatter walls for warming up and everything. Here you can see me warming up on the 45er, doing some climbing without feet. I don't know, I like this kind of warm up a little bit on some joggier holds, you know, because I only have my high performance shoes with me. It's kind of painful to warm up in those on the vertical walls. So now I'm gonna show you some of the boulders I tried in this gym, actually 2 of these. And I've decided to just show you the boulders first with all the holds and the constellation and the wall, so that you can decide for yourself what you would think would be the best possible beta. So here we have the starting hold, which is a sloper, kind of shouldery hold into this kind of pinch, kind of a small pinch, not too good on this big volume. And here we've got the first, this is actually a first interesting move that I want to talk in a little bit more detail. Then it goes to the edge of this big volume. The big volume here is actually a hold in itself, and as you can see, I've made some tick marks here. Then it goes to the right onto this kind of slopery thing, and from there you have to go to the next hold to the right, which is kind of a small edge. From there you go a big move into this kind of jog, which is looking into the wrong direction a little bit, and these 2 big holds on the volume are the top. You can of course pause the video now if you want to find a solution yourself. What I can say right away is that there are 2 at least solutions for these problems, which I figured out. So let's see how the first one looks like. The very first move, this problem is actually quite interesting, because you have to kind of push yourself out of this shouldery sloper into that pinch edge. And this is always interesting in my opinion, these spans into shouldery moves, because you kind of have to focus also on your non-gripping hand, which is in this case the hand which remains on the starting hold, the right hand. If you know what I mean, because normally you just focus on the gripping hand, the hand which wants to reach the next hold. But if you do it that way, if you kind of push through full speed and go for this next hold, you're going to lose, with the momentum, you're going to lose the grip on your starting hold. So here you kind of have to reduce the speed a little bit and do this move as statically as possible in order to not lose friction on your starting hold. And this is something interesting because normally everybody would tell you, man, you should climb as dynamically as possible, just do the moves as quickly as possible and you will save the most energy. Yes, this might be true for most of the classic standard examples of moves, but for moves like this, it's actually better to go a little bit more statically, because this way you will keep the friction in your non-active hand, in your hand which is still on the starting hold, if you know what I mean. And what follows is actually pretty interesting as well. It's like an undercling. You're doing the undercling on the volume, then a big span to the right on the next sloper, and then you have to let your feet go to reach with one foot on that starting hold again and make a pretty nice heel hook. This is the reason why I put some tick marks onto this volume, so that I know where I can put my heel. And the upper part is actually very interesting too, because here it is where the betas split up. There are two betas. As you can see, I'm doing the kind of cross move here into the jug, taking the jug into the right direction, trying to match it, which is pretty hard because it's actually pretty small, and then doing another crazy jumping cross move into this first top hold and then trying to match here. So let's see how this beta worked out in my climb in my next attempt. Here I was almost too dynamically, as you could see. I almost slipped off with my non-active hand. Here the undercling part with the volume again, taking the edge of the volume into the sloper, letting my feet go onto the starting hold, heel hook, matching the sloper, which is actually not pretty easy as well because the sloper is pretty bad. And then, yeah, you fall into this kind of mini shoulder intermediate. Here I'm setting my feet for the crossing move, which I barely stuck. It was pretty hard. And then you have to let your feet go again to kind of match this hold and jump into the next crossover. And here it was so hard actually that I couldn't do it from the ground. So I had to go for the other beta, which I figured out quite quickly afterwards. Again, here the starting move. And move onto the edge, sloper, letting my feet go, heel hook. Now the quite not so easy kind of move to the next hold, and here you actually, did you see this beta? You can also do kind of a shouldery jump into this jug and hold yourself, kind of in the shouldery fashion. And then you, of course, you don't have to lose your feet to do this. If you're a body strength monster, you will just kind of stick it without losing your feet. And the problem is that I didn't climb for such a long time and my body strength was pretty shit in that moment, so I lost my feet. And then you basically step with both feet onto this sloper from before, kind of pinch it, and yeah, reach out for these two top holds. So yeah, quite interesting problem. This was a problem which was made by the guys of this gym. Quite nicely done, I would have to say. What you're gonna see next is a problem which I invented on the 45-degree overhanging wall. So we've got this big juggy hole here. Then we've got, as far as I remember, yeah, it was this small edge here. These two both small edges. And you've got an additional foothold for the next move, which is onto this ball thing here on the volume. It's the small hold above it, two small holds on the volume again, this strange coral reef thing, and the two top out range. Again, if you want to find the beta yourself, you can just pause the video here. So let's see how this went down. And I want to add here that this is again an example of falling into a shouldery move, which is the next move from this one. Here you've got the defined foothold, and as you can see, you have to kind of shoot for this ball, and both holds, the ball and your starting hold, are not so good, so you can kind of have to hold the tension between those two. Move on to the next small holds on that volume, and then you've got an insane lock-off move onto this coral thing, where I didn't really know where it was actually good, so I fell off here. And yeah, that's this boulder. And here was actually a pretty strong Mexican girl of this gym, doing this lock-off move quite easy, so this was pretty impressive, I have to say. She did the whole upper part of the body of the boulder quite easily, actually. So here you can see you have to match onto this coral thing, you have to know where it is grippable, so to say, and then she jumps for this 2 area there, which is the top. So here another one of the guys is trying the boulder, and actually he stuck the shouldery move, as you can see, but he kind of concentrated himself so much on his active hand that he kind of lost the friction on his passive hand and slipped off, as you can see, when he was trying to match his foot close to his left hand. And here again you have myself trying the boulder, as you can see, matching on the 2 small holes of the volume, getting into the foot position and tuck. And here, as you can see, I was too fast, I just was too dynamically on this move, so I lost my passive hand. With these moves you have to kind of give the right dose of momentum to reach your target hole. If it's too much, you will gonna shoot off with your passive hand. If it's too little, you're not gonna reach your target hole, or you're just gonna reach it improperly and you will lose friction and you will slip off again. Actually, if you're very strong and if you have a lot of static power, then you will have an easier time on those kind of moves, because you can make them conveniently slow and you don't have to worry about your passive hand slipping off.
Oh, what an amazing session. My skin is wrecked. Holy damn. My whole body is wrecked, to be honest. It's so incredible when you don't climb for such a long time. Oh, you just need 1 hour of intense bouldering and your skin is through, I tell you that. But anyway, awesome crew as well. Pretty motivated Mexican climbers here in Oaxaca City, I have to say. Pretty impressed. Now it's time to head home, get a little post-workout meal going, which I'm actually pretty excited for, to be honest, because I'm starving already. Ooh, little cockroach down there. Look what I just found. Some mini bananas. Oh yes, time to carb it up. It's amazing. These 2 super nice chicas prepared some quinoa and fresh veggies. Look at that, and they have exactly 1 portion more for 1 person, and that's gonna be me apparently. And I'm super happy about that. Muchas gracias.